An awakened person has already traveled along in the journey before meeting their soulmate. They have faced their fears, questioned their conditioning, and loosened their dependence on others for happiness. Through awareness, they have discovered that love is not something to be obtained, but something to be expressed. Because of this inner fullness, they no longer approach relationships from a place of lack. They do not seek someone to fix their loneliness or give meaning to their life. They have already learned how to sit peacefully with themselves. When an awakened person meets their soulmate, the experience feels very different from ordinary attraction. There is no dramatic rush of emotions, no anxious excitement, and no fear of losing the other. Instead, there is a deep sense of calm recognition. It is as if two people meet at the same depth. Beyond names, stories, and roles, the heart opens quietly, the mind becomes still. Nothing needs to be proven or explained. The connection feels natural, effortless, and strangely familiar, even though it may be the first meeting in this lifetime. This recognition does not come from memory of the past or fantasy about the future. It comes from presence. The awakened person is fully here, fully aware, and because of that awareness, they can see the other clearly. They are not projecting an image of what they want the person to be. They are not trying to shape the connection into a dream. They are simply witnessing what is unfolding moment by moment. This creates a powerful sense of safety for both people. The soulmate immediately feels this difference. In the presence of an awakened person, there is no pressure to impress, perform, or hide weaknesses. Masks fall away naturally. Conversations feel real, not rehearsed. Even silence carries warmth rather than discomfort. The awakened person is not scanning the other for validation or approval. They are grounded in themselves, and this groundedness becomes contagious because there is no inner hunger. The awakened person does not rush the connection. They do not label it quickly or cling to it. They allow the relationship to grow at its own pace. This patience is often surprising in a world driven by urgency and emotional intensity. Yet it is precisely this patience that allows something real to take root. Love is not forced. It unfolds. In this meeting, both people feel seen, not as an idea, but as a living presence. There is a quiet joy in simply being together, without demands or expectations. This is how an awakened person recognizes their soulmate. Not through excitement alone, but through peace. Not through need, but through wholeness. And in that wholeness, a deeper kind of love begins. When an awakened person meets their soulmate, the connection is not built on fantasy or emotional projection. In most relationships, people fall in love with an image. They imagine who the other person could be, how they will behave, and how the relationship should feel. Expectations silently take control, and disappointment follows when reality does not match the dream. An awakened person sees this pattern clearly and steps out of it. Instead of projecting, the awakened person meets the soulmate exactly as they are. They do not rush to label the connection or define its future. There is no attempt to control outcomes or secure emotional guarantees. The meeting happens in openness, free from inner agendas. This creates a rare quality of presence in the relationship. The connection is not driven by desire to possess, but by curiosity to understand. Because of this clarity, attraction feels clean rather than compulsive. Desire may still exist, but it is not mixed with fear, insecurity, or emotional dependence. The awakened person is aware of their feelings without being ruled by them. They observe attraction the same way they observe thoughts or sensations. This awareness prevents attachment from forming too early and allows love to remain spacious and alive. The soulmate feels this immediately. There is no sense of being pulled into a role or expectation. They are not required to entertain, rescue, or fulfill unmet emotional needs. They are free to show up authentically without pressure. This freedom builds trust quickly because it is rare to be accepted without conditions. The relationship begins on a foundation of honesty rather than performance. Another key difference is how the awakened person relates to time. They are not obsessed with where the relationship is going. The present moment is enough. Each interaction is complete in itself. This removes the subtle anxiety that often poisons early connections. There is no fear of saying the wrong thing, no strategy to secure affection. Conversations unfold naturally, guided by sincerity rather than intention. The awakened person also recognizes the subtle movements of the ego within themselves. If a desire to impress arises, it is noticed. If insecurity appears, it is observed. Nothing is suppressed, but nothing is acted out unconsciously. This inner watching prevents emotional drama from taking root. The soulmate experiences a sense of emotional stability that feels deeply grounding. Because there is no illusion holding the connection together, what forms between them is real. The bond grows slowly but solidly. It is not dependent on constant excitement or emotional highs. Instead, it is nourished by presence, understanding, and mutual respect. Both people are seen clearly without distortion. This is the true gift of an awakened meeting. Two people come together without pretending, without chasing, and without escaping themselves. In that clarity, love has the space to reveal its deeper nature, not as fantasy, but as truth lived moment by moment. Communication between an awakened person and their soulmate moves beyond ordinary conversation. It is not just an exchange of words, but a meeting of awareness. The awakened person speaks from clarity rather than reaction. They do not use language to defend themselves, dominate the other, or win arguments. Their words arise from presence, and because of this, even difficult conversations feel grounded and respectful. One of the most noticeable qualities of this connection is the comfort with silence. Silence is not filled with insecurity or the need to perform. It is shared space. In that stillness, both people feel deeply connected without saying anything at all. The awakened person understands that true intimacy does not always require explanation. Presence itself communicates more than words ever could. When emotions arise, they are met with awareness rather than suppression or blame. The awakened person does not deny feelings, but they also do not act them out unconsciously. If sadness, anger, or confusion appears, it is acknowledged openly. This honesty creates emotional safety. The soulmate learns that feelings are welcome, not judged or avoided. As a result, emotional expression becomes natural and healthy. Conflict, when it appears, is approached as a mirror rather than a battlefield. The awakened person does not see disagreement as a threat to love. They recognize it as an opportunity to understand deeper layers of themselves and the other. Instead of asking who is right, the question becomes what is being revealed. This shift transforms conflict from something destructive into something illuminating. Listening plays a central role in this dynamic. The awakened person listens without interrupting, fixing, or correcting. They listen to understand the inner world of the soulmate. This kind of listening is rare, and it allows the other to feel truly seen. Over time, the soulmate begins to mirror this quality of listening, and communication deepens even further. Because there is awareness, unconscious patterns surface more clearly. Old wounds, defensive habits, and emotional triggers do not disappear, but they lose their power. When triggered, the awakened person notices the reaction without identifying with it. This pause prevents escalation. Instead of repeating old cycles, new responses emerge. Growth becomes a natural outcome of awareness. There is also a gentle honesty in how needs and boundaries are expressed. The awakened person does not manipulate or hint indirectly. They speak clearly and kindly. Boundaries are not walls, they are expressions of self-respect. This clarity prevents resentment from building beneath the surface. Over time, communication becomes less about solving problems and more about deepening connection. Each conversation strengthens trust. Each moment of listening brings understanding. In this space, both people feel safe enough to be real. And it is within this safety that love matures, not through perfection, but through conscious presence shared again and again. When an awakened person loves, love is no longer mixed with attachment. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of awakened relationships. Attachment seeks security, control, and reassurance. Love, in its pure form, seeks nothing. The awakened person understands this difference through lived experience. They have seen how attachment creates fear and how fear slowly suffocates connection. Because of this clarity, they love without trying to possess the soulmate. In this relationship, freedom is not a threat, it is the foundation. The awakened person does not monitor, restrict, or emotionally hold the other captive. They do not demand constant attention or proof of loyalty. Trust arises naturally, not because rules are enforced, but because awareness is present. The soulmate feels trusted, not tested. This trust creates a deep sense of emotional ease. Paradoxically, this freedom strengthens the bond rather than weakening it. When someone is not held by fear or obligation, they stay by choice. The soulmate feels chosen every day, not trapped by expectations. Love becomes an invitation, not a demand. This dynamic allows affection to remain alive and fresh, rather than turning into routine or resentment. The awakened person also does not attempt to merge identities. They respect individuality deeply. Both people are encouraged to grow, explore, and evolve in their own ways. The relationship does not require sacrifice of self. Instead, it becomes a space where authenticity is protected. Each person remains rooted in their own inner world while sharing life together. Jealousy, if it arises, is met with awareness rather than justification. The awakened person does not act out jealousy or deny it. They observe it as a signal pointing to an inner insecurity. This honesty prevents emotional drama from controlling the relationship. Over time, jealousy loses its grip because it is no longer fed by unconscious behavior. Love in this connection is expressed through presence more than promises. The awakened person understands that words about the future can easily become fantasies. Instead, they show love through consistency, sincerity, and attention in the present moment. This reliability creates emotional stability without needing guarantees. There is also a deep respect for the other's inner journey. The awakened person does not try to awaken or change the soulmate. They understand that growth cannot be forced. They offer space, not pressure. This non-interference allows the soulmate to feel supported rather than judged. Ironically, this acceptance often inspires natural transformation. In such a relationship, love is not used to escape loneliness or fear. It becomes a shared celebration of two whole beings meeting. There is closeness without suffocation and distance without disconnection. The awakened person loves fully yet remains inwardly free. This balance is rare, but when it happens, it creates a bond that feels light, deep, and enduring. Not because it is held tightly, but because it is allowed to breathe when an awakened person meets their soulmate. Emotional wounds do not disappear. Instead, they come gently to the surface. This happens not because the relationship is painful, but because it is safe. True intimacy has a way of revealing what has been hidden for a long time. The presence of awareness creates light, and whatever has been stored in darkness begins to show itself. The awakened person does not fear this process. They understand that wounds are not flaws, but unfinished experiences asking for attention. When the soulmate's old pain emerges, it is met with patience rather than judgment. There is no attempt to fix, rescue, or analyze. The awakened person simply stays present. This presence itself becomes healing because it allows pain to be felt without being reinforced. Often, The soulmate may feel emotionally challenged. Patterns from past relationships may arise, such as fear of abandonment, fear of intimacy, or self-doubt. In an unconscious relationship, these patterns usually trigger drama or withdrawal. With an awakened partner, something different happens. The pattern is seen clearly without blame. The reaction slows down. Space opens between the feeling and the response. This space is where healing begins. The awakened person also allows their own wounds to surface. Awakening does not mean emotional perfection. It means honesty. When their own vulnerabilities appear, they do not hide behind spiritual language or emotional distance. They share openly without turning vulnerability into a performance. That is, mutual openness creates deep trust and emotional intimacy. Truth plays a central role in this healing dynamic. The awakened person reflects truth gently, without harshness. They may point out unconscious behaviors, but never from superiority. The intention is clarity, not control. This reflection can feel uncomfortable at times because it challenges familiar stories the soulmate may tell about themselves. Yet underneath the discomfort, there is relief. Something real is finally being acknowledged. Healing in this relationship is not forced or rushed. There is no pressure to move on, forgive quickly, or become emotionally strong. The awakened person understands that healing unfolds in its own rhythm. By allowing emotions to move naturally, they lose their intensity over time. Pain softens when it is fully felt in a supportive space. This process deepens the bond. As wounds heal, authenticity increases. The soulmate begins to trust their own emotional experience more. They feel less reactive, less afraid. Love becomes less about protection and more about openness. In this way, the relationship becomes a sanctuary, not because it avoids pain, but because it knows how to hold it. Emotional wounds are no longer obstacles to love. They become doorways to deeper understanding, compassion, and connection. And through this shared healing, both individuals grow into greater wholeness together. One of the most profound qualities of an awakened relationship is the absence of obsessio, and with permanence. The awakened person understands that all experiences in life are temporary, including relationships. This understanding does not create detachment or coldness. Instead, it brings depth, sincerity, and gratitude into every shared moment. Love is no longer postponed for the future. It is lived fully now. In many relationships, people cling to the idea of forever as a way to escape fear. They seek promises, labels, and guarantees to feel safe. The awakened person sees how this attachment to permanence creates anxiety and pressure. By releasing the need for certainty, they allow the relationship to breathe. There is no fear-driven urgency to define or secure the bond. This attitude transforms how love is experienced. The awakened person cherishes the soulmate without trying to own the future. Each moment together becomes complete in itself. There is no comparison with what the relationship should become. Presence replaces planning. Appreciation replaces expectation. The connection feels lighter, yet deeper at the same time, because there is no fear of loss. Jealousy and possessiveness lose their grip. The awakened person understands that love cannot be protected by control. Trying to hold on to someone only creates distance. By accepting impermanence, they paradoxically experience greater emotional security. Love becomes an expression of freedom rather than fear. This does not mean the awakened person avoids commitment. Commitment still exists, but it arises from choice, not from insecurity. They show up consistently, honestly, and with care. They invest energy and attention without demanding guarantees in return. This kind of commitment feels grounding rather than restrictive. The soulmate often feels surprised by this approach. Being loved without pressure or fear creates a deep sense of respect and trust. The relationship does not feel like a contract. It feels like a shared journey. Both individuals remain present because they want to be, not because they are afraid to leave. The awakened person also understands that change is inevitable. People evolve, circumstances shift. Rather than resisting this truth, they welcome it. If the relationship deepens, it is celebrated. If it transforms or even ends, it is honored without bitterness. Love is not measured by duration, but by depth and authenticity. This maturity allows both individuals to meet each other freshly each day. There is no emotional debt from the past or anxiety about the future. The relationship stays alive because it is not weighed down by expectation. In this space, love becomes timeless, not because it lasts forever, but because it is fully alive in the present. The awakened person teaches, through their way of loving, that true intimacy is not about holding on. It is about meeting each moment with openness, courage, and grace. When an awakened person meets their soulmate, spiritual growth naturally deepens for both individuals. This does not happen through teaching, preaching, or trying to change the other. It happens through presence. Awareness is contagious. Being close to someone who is deeply present, emotionally grounded, and inwardly still begins to awaken the same qualities in the other. The awakened person does not position themselves as a guide or authority. They understand that true awakening cannot be transmitted through concepts. Instead, it is felt. The soulmate experiences this through simple moments. How the awakened person listens, how they respond instead of react, how they remain centered during emotional intensity. These qualities silently invite a deeper way of being. Over time, the soulmate begins to notice changes within themselves. They become more aware of their thoughts, emotions, and habitual patterns. Reactions that once felt automatic start to slow down. Space appears between impulse and action. This space is the beginning of awakening, and it emerges not through effort but through resonance with presence. The relationship itself becomes a spiritual practice. Everyday interactions turn into opportunities for awareness. Simple moments, sharing meals, walking together, having difficult conversations become mirrors reflecting unconscious patterns. The awakened person does not judge these moments. They meet them with curiosity and compassion, allowing insight to arise naturally. This shared growth creates a sense of alignment. Both individuals begin to value truth over comfort, awareness over avoidance. Ego-driven games lose their appeal. Honesty becomes more important than being right. The relationship supports inner clarity rather than distraction. Love and awareness move together instead of pulling in opposite directions. The soulmate may also feel challenged at times. Growth is not always comfortable. Being seen clearly can bring resistance. Old entities may begin to dissolve. The awakened person holds space for this discomfort without trying to soften or escape it. Their steady presence provides safety during transformation. As spiritual understanding deepens, compassion expands. Both individuals become more patient, not only with each other but with life itself. They begin to see beyond personal stories and recognize shared humanity. This widens the heart and reduces emotional reactivity. The connection no longer feels separate from spiritual life. There is no division between love and awakening. The relationship does not distract from inner work. It becomes part of it. Silence, attention, and sincerity infuse the bond. In this way, love stops being just a personal experience. It becomes a field of awareness where both individuals evolve together. The awakened person and their soulmate do not walk the spiritual path alone. They walk it side by side, not holding hands tightly, but moving in the same direction, guided by presence and truth. When an awakened person meets their soulmate, the connection is not defined by intensity or drama, but by clarity. In a world that often equates love with emotional chaos, this kind of relationship can feel almost unfamiliar. There are no emotional highs followed by deep lows, No constant questioning of worth or security. Instead, there is steadiness, a calm recognition that love does not need to hurt to be real. This clarity changes how both individuals experience life together. Problems are not exaggerated, and joy is not clung to. Each moment is met as it is. The relationship becomes a place of balance rather than emotional escape. Love no longer functions as a distraction from inner emptiness, because there is no emptiness being avoided. Two complete individuals are meeting, not to fill gaps, but to share presence. The awakened person does not lose themselves in the relationship, and neither does the soulmate. Individual purpose, creativity, and inner growth continue to thrive. Love supports life rather than replacing it. This creates a unique strength in the bond. The relationship adds depth without demanding sacrifice of authenticity. There is also a deep sense of mutual respect. Differences are not seen as threats. They are appreciated as expressions of individuality. The awakened person understands that harmony does not require sameness. Truth is valued more than agreement. This allows the relationship to remain dynamic and alive. Over time, the connection develops a quiet power. It influences how both individuals relate to the world. They become less reactive, more compassionate, and more grounded. Their love naturally extends outward, affecting family, friendships, and even strangers. Without effort, the relationship becomes a source of stability and kindness. This kind of union does not depend on constant affirmation or validation. Both individuals are rooted in their own awareness. Because of this, love flows freely. It is expressed through presence, understanding, and consistency. The relationship feels nourishing rather than draining. Even challenges are met with grace. When life brings uncertainty or difficulty, the awakened connection provides support without attachment. Both individuals face reality together, not by clinging to each other, but by standing side by side. Love becomes a shared strength rather than a shelter from truth. Ultimately, when an awakened person meets their soulmate, love reveals its deeper purpose. It is not meant to complete, distract, or possess. It is meant to awaken, stabilize, and expand. This kind of love does not pull one away from life. It brings one closer to it. In this meeting, something rare unfolds. Love becomes conscious, connection becomes spacious, and two individuals discover that the deepest intimacy arises not from need, but from awareness shared in freedom.